Blog Talk Radio.
Alternative facts.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. At 12:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, numerous unidentified objects of unknown intent and unknown origin were detected at high altitudes over multiple locations of Earth's outer space by the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, and these objects are presumed to be some form of controlled aircraft. It is not known if more of these aircraft will arrive, or if they will attempt entering Earth's atmosphere. United States citizens are encouraged to monitor local media outlets, as more updates will follow as information becomes available. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. Attacks by the undead have been reported in several states across the country. The dead are rising from their graves and are attacking the human race. At this time, it is expected that more attacks of this nature will occur in several other states in the next few hours. The intent behind their attack is unknown at this time. He has been observed that a bike or exchange of fluids is a method of transmission. This is an extremely dangerous situation if they crave the taste of human flesh. It is not known whether this event will last for hours, days, or even longer. Stay calm, as authorities have been dispatched to deal with these creatures. An all-clear siren will be sounded when this situation is under control. Pacific Standard Time, nor is detected a long-range nuclear missile launcher. This missile is believed to be headed in the direction of all residents within a 400-mile radius of this area should seek a fallout shelter immediately.
Welcome to Within the Chaos with your host,
Rodney Shortridge.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. You can listen in by going to blogtalkradio.com/withinthechaos, or listen in by phone. You can dial 323-870-4197. And you can also call in to ask questions to our guests at the same number, 323-870-4197. From deep within the heart of the Appalachians, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you all for listening to Within the Chaos. My name is Rodney Shortridge, and I'll be your host tonight. Okay, Lee, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, it worked. Yeah, okay. Well, let me do this intro real quick. Finally, after 3 weeks, it's working.
After 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, tonight our special guest is my daughter, Dakota Shortridge, which you just heard, but we did a little test to make sure she could hear me. Dakota is the author of On Pain Through Love, a collection of writings about abuse and attempting to overcome it. Dakota, emphasize the it. I'm doing a Kirk here. Dakota is a cat lady, and she has 2 fur babies. That's her heart and joy. She loves trash reality TV and is also an English teacher for Chinese students. I'd like to give a shout out to my cousins up in Ohio, Jennifer and Joe Shortridge of 222 Paranormal. If you get a chance, check out their talk show, and you can find them on Facebook under 222 Paranormal. Also, I want to give a shout out to the Facebook paranormal groups that allow us to post our shows on their pages and helping us get the word out about our guests. Also, shout out to the Connor sisters, Misty and Ashley. They are the founders of SOS, Sisters of Salem Paranormal Research Society, and hosts of their podcast, Paranormal Party. You can find them on Facebook under Paranormal Party. Also, I'd like to wish my granddaughter, Half Pint, a very happy 7th birthday, and let her know that Papa loves her. And this is where I would ask Melinda how her day is, but Melinda is MIA, so it's just me and you, Lee.
Me and you and me.
So, Lee, let's go ahead and jump into this, because last time I had you on the show, it got all fucked up. So now let's hope everything goes smooth tonight. So, could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself before we delve into your world?
I am a 25-year-old white Caucasian woman, strictly dickly.
Did you strictly
No. But I consider myself a writer. I guess I've been published. Everyone listening should totally buy a copy. $7 on Amazon, on Pain Through Love. Also, you can find it on BarnesandNoble.com as well. Just a quick plug. Like I said, a cat mom. The trash TV show I've been watching lately has been Big Frida. I've been really into bounce music lately.
And what is Big Frida and bounce music?
Big Frida and bounce music is basically twerking, of course, came from villages in Africa, and Big Frida's family is originally from there, and she's from New Orleans, and she does this version of hip-hop that's all booty. She has a mantra called Release Your Wiggle, and I think we all can take away something from Release Your Wiggle.
Release the wiggle. That's right up there with release the cracking.
Yeah, instead of breathing, like, where people do yoga, people do deep breathing, they should twerk. That's what Big Frida wants. She wants you to bounce. She wants that booty to go jump. And white, black, Caucasian, Asians, they don't mind. Make that booty bump.
What about the people that ain't got no booty? They can't make it bounce.
As someone who has flapjacks on the backside, she gives classes, twerkinars, I guess. I don't know. Where you can go and learn how to bounce. And she did a song with RuPaul, so she is pretty popular.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your new career. What set you on the path to become an English teacher, teaching Chinese kids how to speak English?
It was absolutely the money, up, down, and sideways, as a capitalist through and through. But Janelle, one of my good friends who's 60 years old, for some reason I always gravitate towards people who are older for some reason. I guess it's where older people are chill. People my age sometimes aren't chill, which I understand. We live in Tazewell County where there's more drugs around than teeth, so I get it. But a lot of money in it. It's really fun, even though the tiger moms give you bad apples all over the place because you don't have enough energy. But if you had more energy, you'd basically be screaming at the screen. So it's a great job. 10 out of 10.
Oh, okay. So these tiger moms sit and watch you all while you're doing your teaching your classes?
They do. And tiger moms can be quite scary, only because, let's say you're 4 years old. You're 4 years old learning a brand new language, and let's say you mess up on the letters LMNOP. That seems to be a common mess up with kids in the United States as well as in China. But the tiger mom will be in the background going, LMNOP, LMNOP, like yelling at their kid until they're about to cry, saying the alphabet. And then they give me 1 apple star.
So they give you a bad apple. They give you a bad apple, even though it's not your fault.
Bad apple. It's not my fault. Yes, sometimes that happens, and other times you have understanding parents. It just depends on the parent. The stereotype is sadly true. It sucks. I hate when stereotypes are real, but sadly with the Chinese mom wanting your student to learn and be perfect, it's absolutely true. And very aggressive. That is true as well. I've had many students crying on camera because of their moms.
Oh. Yeah,
so
they're
if anyone needs a referral code for VIP Kid, you can hit me up on Facebook at Dakota Shortridge. If you want to watch kids cry while teaching them English.
You just plugging right along as we go, aren't you?
That's right. That's how you do it, Poppy.
I know. You're doing a good job. So, how do you? I mean, I'm sure you do this online. With the time difference, does that cause any type of problems, or?
I mean, it does cause a lot of problems because sometimes I forget that I have something to do in the morning. Like maybe I have a doctor's appointment in the morning, because with my time zone, I'd have to teach in the morning, like 5 in the morning on, because 5 in the morning here is 5 p.m. in China. So they're just finishing dinner and learning some English. And it makes me really sad the kids I get at 9:30 in the morning, because that's 9:30 at night, and these kids are sleepy. Sleepy babies. I had one kid, eyes barely open through the whole lesson. I'd be like, what do you see? My eyelids. That's what they saw.
Poor youngins. Now, do you teach a certain area in China, certain towns or cities, or is it all over the country?
I think it's all over the country, but most of the kids are in Beijing because that's where most of the money is. It's a very expensive thing, a very expensive package to get with VIP Kid if you're wanting to teach your child English. And that's why I get paid so well, because it's very pricey. And I think that's why the parents are so anal, because they're like, I'm paying a ton of money. This person better snort some coke or do some speed before they do their lessons and show some energy.
Well, let's talk about your book now. You were first published last year, and again, the title is On Pain Through Love. What started you on this road to writing poems and short stories?
The road, it was a long time ago with, honestly, Nana. Nana bought me a fuzzy, orangish yellow diary that I loved, and I used as a bed for my Barbies because I thought it was a cool bed for them, but also wrote in it. And I just wrote about my day and everything, and then I learned about poems in school, and poems just really helped me get stuff out as a kid. We, as you know, as my father, we were rural, poor Appalachian people, and instead of getting it out in an unhealthy way, getting out the pain and the darkness of moving from place to place, living in moldy places, just extreme emotions from being poor. And poetry and writing just helped, and I always listened. I always listened to Mama, always listened to Ma Johnson, Mama's mom. For those of you who don't know who Ma Johnson is, you best recognize. And also, I listened to you, I listened to Uncle Jason, Uncle Roger. I just listened to everybody and wrote their stories in my diary and will publish them willy-nilly for money.
We'll take
Your
our
stories are not yours. They are mine. No.
Our stories are not ours. You're going to make millions of dollars off of our stories.
You're welcome. Wink.
Yeah. So what would you say is your inspiration for your poems and stories? Is it just, being grown up poor, or are there any other type of inspirations? And it hurts me. I know that I grew up poor. I did the best I could, and the circumstances people just don't know. And it was
it was terrible. Everyone listening, the 2000s were rough. Yeah,
they were.
But you learn from those. You learn from those, and some good stories and good emotions comes out of that. Even though it was rough, we learned a lot. And what we learned are core values that you can see in my work, which are hard work. If you work, you can get what you want. If you play all the time, you're not going to get what you want, and things won't get realized that you want to be realized unless you work on it. You can always overcome whatever you're going through with work.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What is your right? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But my inspiration, we got on a sidetrack, but my inspiration isn't that we were poor. It's to get it out, to get that emotion in, because my brain, for some reason, can't process emotions really well. I feel emotions in spurts. It's like, I'm happy right now. Now I'm really sad. Oh, no. I don't know how I feel. That's how I feel emotions. So whenever I'm feeling it extreme, I write it so I can get back to a level playing field in my brain.
With what
if
happened
that
to
makes
me?
any sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, what happened to me in February? Have you already wrote about that? My story on that?
No, now that's just a passing joke when I meet people as an icebreaker. Hello, my dad got sick. He was so butt naked going to the hospital looking like Gary Busey. Naked Gary Busey on the loose. I hope your listeners are picturing a naked Gary Busey on the loose.
That's fucked up, because I didn't even know I was in this world.
You didn't even know you were Gary Busey at the time.
Mm-mm.
And my brother Zach, listeners, made the best joke at the whole time. No, my dad is dying, but my brother Zach makes the best joke. He looks at all of us after the doctor comes in and tells us that he has to go to another hospital because they can't do anything for him. And Zach looks at all of us kids, and he's like, it's bad when the hospital tells you that you got to go to the hospital. We all died laughing while my dad is dying.
Well, that's the way I always wanted to be. Everybody laughing and shooting the shit. So.
And that's how it was. And apparently, my older brother Aaron farted and blamed it on you. And this whole time, I thought it was Zach. But it was another brother.
Look at that.
Blaming a fart on a dying man.
Yeah, ain't that some shit, boy? He's like, he ain't going to make it. Don't worry about it. He'll take it to the grave. So what is your writing process like? Do you sit there with a bottle of Chardonnay? Yeah, I was going to Chardonnay and a big doobie.
I know you. Well, basically, my process is in the English world, capital R, romantic. I just sit down, write it out. That's it. No editing, raw, done. And then, if I feel like editing it, I edit it. If I feel like it's just a trash poem that I wrote in the moment, I leave it as a trash poem for someone to publish when I die. So, I'll give you the Google Docs password, who is ever in my will in the future. Sometimes I write on the treadmill. Sometimes I write in the car. Sometimes I'm listening to Lana Del Rey, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta get it out.
Damn.
Mhm.
Well, does writing energize you or exhaust you?
Both. It depends on what I'm writing. I'm writing something where I'm feeling very insecure in something, either in relationships or just in life. It puts me to sleep. It's like chamomile. Writing's like chamomile when I'm feeling down. And technically that's exhausting, I guess. But it energizes me when I'm writing stories about the family. I love writing stories about the family. If the listeners don't already know, they can totally buy the book, learn a little bit more about you, which is on Amazon for $7 on Pain Through Love. But it energizes me because our family and our history and our lore is really funny and really interesting, sometimes sad, but it's just everything I love about the South. I love the South. The dirty South is the best. Being raised in the South was the best. Even being raised poor is the best because that is a different situation than a lot of people have lived, and a lot of people have lived it, and it's very relatable and very interesting to those who haven't been in it. So that's what I go for. I like to pique people's interest with the struggles of poverty, like Ma Johnson, what she went through in the Great Depression. Those are wonderful stories.
Yeah.
And stories of present poverty, they're just good stories.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think someone can be a writer if they don't feel strong, some strong emotions about what they're writing about?
I'm going to say yes, because there are a lot of books out there that people just write to write, and that's okay. That we live in a, once again, capitalist society where if you write public slaughter and it does very well with the plebes, if you don't feel anything for it or not, like journalists. You could be writing an article because maybe your editor made you go on some beat you don't like. And you're going to write anyways whether you like it or not because you like money. Money is the main motivator for most writings, whether you like it or not.
Well, do you want each book to stand on its own, or are you trying to, build a body of work where there's connections between each book?
No matter what I write, there's going to be connections in each book, no matter what. Even if I wrote a murder novel, which I've been slowly writing on, even if I write different literature in totally different genres, there would still be connections where I'm the writer, because you write what you know, and I'm big in that. I write what I know. I can't write sci-fi. I can't do it. I mean, I can write a futuristic, beautiful fairy poem, but it would still be connected to either the pain and the darkness or the beauty that I'm feeling at the moment. There is a poem in my book. You brought up Malia's birthday, and I was just feeling so much love for her one day, and I just sat in class before the teacher came in and just quickly wrote a poem on scratch paper about my love for her, and I want to protect her. And that will be in everything I write. Love will be in everything I write. It'll just be there. There's no dividing the two for me.
Well, how did publishing your first book change the process of your writing, or if it did at all?
I feel like it made me lazy. But and I had to write and get something published. Well, I didn't have to get it published. I personally wanted to get something published for my English degree. So I had deadlines, I had timelines, I did it. Now that I don't have deadlines and timelines, I'm just like, I'm going to write when I want to and take a nap.
Well, what was your early experience where you learned that language had power?
I learned that language had power. It goes, of course, for you. I know you want this answer to be about, my dad curses like a sailor. When I was young, he would be like, you guys can't say this until you're 18 years old, but you can sneak it. But I learned language had power through this one phrase. Excuse my French. When people would say curse words, I remember Dallas and I, my sister Dallas, for those of you who don't know who she is, we were on a ride at the fair when we were really little, and these two hood girls were just cursing up a storm. They were just letting it out, letting it fly. And then they look at Dallas and I, who are looking at them like, what? And they're like, oh, excuse my French. And I'm like, you didn't speak French. And then going back to Mama, when we were little, would curse, calling everybody everything, and then look at Dally and I, just looking up at her like, whoa, and go, what? Excuse my French. I just think it's hilarious that one simple phrase means all the crazy stuff that you've just said is forgiven. The power of language. I just said, your mom is a whore. Excuse my French.
Damn.
It was that phrase. It was that phrase right there.
Excuse my French.
Yep, excuse my French. People use it all the time when we were little.
Yep. They still do a lot around here.
They still do. And you're not speaking French. And you're kind of being a little bit racist towards the French. They're not, I don't see them as very, like, slamming down F-bombs people. Or the N-word, mama.
Glad she ain't listening to the show. Well, how many unpublished and half-finished books do you have?
Well, I have a lot of unpublished poems. I have a halfway written novel and an almost fully written screenplay that I wrote because I love Shia LaBeouf, and I want Shia LaBeouf to be the main character in one of my films so bad. It's a dream.
Well, do you do any research for any of your writing, or is it just sporadic?
Well, the poems are sporadic, but for the novel and for the screenplay, I did a lot of research. Where it's horror, I wanted to make sure that I got decomposition right, so I'm probably flagged by the FBI. I wanted to make sure I got what stab wounds look like right, so I can describe it on paper correctly, what dead bodies look like, and describe it on paper correctly. So I've had to look up some very disturbing things, but I also got to look up some cool things where I wrote it in a period piece in the 1950s, looking up things like jive turgat, which is also racist if you use it in the wrong way. But excuse my French.
Shit. What period of your life that you find you write the most about? You know, your childhood or your teenage years or your young adult life?
I write about moments, mostly. When I'm feeling in the moment, if I'm feeling loved in the moment, if I'm not feeling loved in the moment, if I'm feeling scared, if I'm feeling mad. That's usually what I write down. Whatever extreme feeling I'm feeling, I write it down so I can get it out and feel normal again or feel chill.
Okay. Well, do you view your writing as maybe a kind of spiritual practice?
You could probably consider that. You could probably definitely consider that, where it's a release, where I'm the Queen Diva, praise and worshiping myself, and I use that. I use a lot of religious undertones and symbolism in my work. I talk about Judas a lot, where I dated drug dealers. I talk about, and I correlate the both of them together. I talk about Paul and other disciples. I talk about God, and I talk about myself as being a God. So it's very cool, the juxtapositions that I've created. And in some of the new works I've done, they've gotten more into that religious symbolism and anti-blasphemous kind of Christianity symbolism that I love so much.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Papa D.
I don't know what happened. It dropped the call, and I thought it was on your end, but apparently it was on my end. And I had
That's one thing I appreciate about you instead of the Chinese. The Chinese, everything is your fault. You did it, America. Even if the internet messed up on the Chinese end, nope, it's you. It's your fault. Join VIP Kids.
Wow. Let's see. Sorry about that. Like I said, I've had some trouble. It sounded like it disconnected, and I thought it might have been on your end. That's the reason why I asked you to call back, and then I went and looked, and it dropped the call on my end.
Unprofessional.
I know. I've been unprofessional for a month, and I hate it. And I apologize.
Well, I don't think it's your fault. I think that shout out. I feel like Vive Network's turning into the Fox Network, and we're Family Guy just dogging on it. But Vive Network, get your internet tubes right.
Well, it ain't the Vive. It's Blog Talk Radio, where I do the studio through. And
Blog Talk Radio, get your internet tubes right.
Yeah, get your shit together.
I know. You have one job. You have one job.
And I pay for this shit too, man. It ain't like it's free.
Oh no. I'd be fussing at somebody. I'd be pulling a Rodney Shortridge on somebody. That's what you got to do, Daddy.
I'm about to pull a Rodney Shortridge, and they ain't gonna like it.
They're like, I'll pray. I mean, come on. This happens every time that we try to do this interview. Every time.
Every time. Well, at least that one was only like a 5-minute fuck up, but it's fixed now because I went through the internet instead of going through the call thing, and that worked.
I went through the tubes.
I went through the World Wide Web. Okay, do you had any secrets in your books that only a few people will find?
Do I have any secrets? Oh man, Tom Hanks is in every page. No.
Love Tom
If I
Hanks.
hear secrets, I automatically think Da Vinci Code. But there's this one secret that I think I told another radio station once. But anytime I write about an American, I write about this one dude in college that I feel like I'm John Waters sometimes. I just get muses that are just people that are super interesting. And I befriend them and follow them around forever.
Uh-huh.
It's super creepy, but John Waters does it, so can I. So
Sound like a stalker.
It does sound like a stalker, but I befriend them. There's a difference. One is being creepy. One is just befriending somebody you find super interesting and talking to them. And that's what I did. There's this dude in college. He looked like Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation. Super hairy West Virginia dude who was a frat president with type 2 diabetes. He couldn't drink a lot, which I found super ironic to be a frat president who couldn't drink much. So I just ended up writing love poems to him. Just everything about it, because he was so American. I wasn't even in love with this dude. I just found him so fascinating because he had, like, no emotion. He had no emotion. He would just sit on his porch, no shirt on, hair everywhere, American shorts, drink one beer, and we would just watch people, his frat buddies, pee on stuff. And for some reason, I wrote poems about this dude because I just thought he was so fascinating how he didn't let nothing affect him. And he was very smart, very hairy, and just a big ball of interesting fur. So I just wrote about him.
Wow.
It sounds super creepy when you say it aloud. I know it does.
Kind of does.
And if he's listening, he's probably like, I understand, I'd write about me too. That's just the person he is.
I write about me too, but I'm just too creepy.
I mean, he wasn't creepy. That's the thing. He wasn't creepy. Everybody loved this dude because he didn't care. He didn't care. And he didn't talk to anybody, really, if he didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
He was the most honest, blunt, and interesting person I have ever met in my life.
The most interesting man in the world.
Not in the world, but in my life as of right now, it would have to be that bro. And he's a super libertarian who basically calls you're an almost Republican. I'm just feeling that. I'm just saying that right now. You're basically a Republican if you're a libertarian. Shut up. But he works on solar panels and stuff.
Oh, well, that's cool.
He's just so ironic that I'm just like, this person is interesting. I've got to be friends with him. I've got to write about him. I've got to tell the world about this hairy West Virginian with type 2 diabetes.
Damn.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the stress of college and I just fixated on a hairy person. I don't know. It's just something I did. And his poems are actually some of my favorite poems.
Oh, so he's a writer too, huh?
No, the poems I wrote about him are some of my favorite poems.
I thought he was a writer too.
No, he's not a writer.
What was your hardest poem or chapter or story that you wrote?
The hardest one I wrote?
Mm-hmm.
The hardest one I wrote would be I want to say the one I had a hard time writing, an emotional time writing, was the one, I don't want to give any spoilers away because you can get my book on Amazon for $7, but one spoiler is a story about you and your mental struggle. I think I have two perspectives in the book. I think I have one perspective as a child watching you struggle with depression, and I have one in your point of view, written in your point of view, with your struggle with depression. And that was very emotional to write. It wasn't hard to write. It was very easy to write. But emotionally, it was hard to write. But in the end, I'm happy I wrote them. I don't regret anything I ever do. If I was to punch an old lady right now, no regrets.
Well, damn. Well, how long on average does it take you to write a poem or a chapter or a story?
It takes me about 5 minutes to write a poem because I just blurt it out. And the editing and stuff takes a little bit. It takes me a couple days to write a good story. I can write the fragments of it in a day and then get it edited and polished pretty okay in 2 days. My novel has taken 2 years.
One of these days, once you get it published, it might be New York's bestsellers list, and then you end up having a movie and just rolling in it.
Have Shia LaBeouf in it. Shia LaBeouf be in my movie. Shia LaBeouf be. I need to start writing poems about Shia LaBeouf instead of writing about that hairy West Virginia guy. I just need to move the fixation to Shia LaBeouf, and maybe
You're just trying to get his attention, huh?
Yeah, maybe Shia LaBeouf will notice me. Notice me, Shia. I'm going to start a webpage called Notice Me, Shia, where other people who want to get noticed by Shia LaBeouf can go on there and talk to each other.
Damn. Well, do you ever get writer's block?
I've kind of had writer's block with a novel. I'm not going to lie. But with poems and stuff, not really. Writing short stories, those, I don't really get writer's block with that because it is other people's stories most of the time. So connecting the dots and everything doesn't take a long time.
Well, there's a question. I don't know if you want me to ask this question because I noticed you kind of skipped around it, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask it. If you don't want to answer it, you just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Well, in your book, you wrote 2 different chapters that are perspectives, the story of me trying to commit suicide. Can you explain why you did this and how this event affected you, knowing that I tried to kill myself, and how has it affected your writing?
Oh man, your listeners are about to get some emotions tonight. But I wrote about it because as a Shortridge who was raised by you, I was in a writer's class, and I'm like, what would shock these people? What would put my dick in the ring? What would say my dick is bigger than your dick? Just laying my dick flag in this classroom to say that I'm here, I'm better than you, bow down. And it was your story. Emotional. It was hard to write in the emotional sense, but it was very, I loved writing it. It's so different than anything else anyone writes about. People just don't write about their father's suicide so sweetly. No one ever says, I don't blame him, when they're writing about their dad. They're usually like, why did he leave me? Why did he do this? No one ever analyzes it from the father's, I get it. I understand. And the understanding of suicide is something that has been ingrained in all of your children, especially me, for a very long time. You never shamed anyone for wanting to commit suicide. You never shamed anybody for thinking that was their only way out because you understood. Because you understood that sometimes your brain, your circumstance, will lead you down a path that seems like it's easier. And that's okay. Training on suicide prevention and awareness, it's okay. You can't save everybody. You can't. You just got to love, let go, and see what happens. That's how I live.
That was deep. Well, do you have any more stories written about me or other people in the family that hasn't been published yet? And if so, can you talk about some of them, or are you just going to wait till you get it published?
Well, I don't mind to talk about them because stories are written differently than what you're saying, verb and word-wise. But there's this one story, my favorite story growing up was about how Papa and Mama met each other. I think it's just the cutest, most southernest story in the world. Don't you think, Papa?
Yeah.
It really is. How he seduced her.
Yeah.
How he had to seduce Ma Johnson with Peach Pop.
It is a good story.
It's a good story.
I mean, he won Ma Johnson over with Peach Pop so he can marry Mom. Ain't that the damn
I know.
stuff?
Materialism. But it's
Well,
cute. It's cute.
you got look. They were dirt poor, and when Dad worked at the Coca-Cola plant, he was able to get always free pop or damn near nothing, and he'd always bring Ma a case every time he'd take Mom out.
See? And that's what people should do now. People should give people things to win over the parents. No, no, that's actually super sexist if you think about it in a way. But it's a cute story, and it's one of my favorite stories, mostly because of how my mom would smile when saying it.
Yeah, mom does like it. She you can't mention Dad without her breaking down.
True. I mean, that was love. What they had was love, love, love. And then she would describe doing him to Brother Zach, and he couldn't handle it.
I don't want to
not
hear
write those stories.
Shit, I don't want to hear it either. La 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 la.
See, yeah, I know. The poor Zach. Zach always has to hear the worst things.
That's because Zach's always got his nose in everybody's ass to see what you're saying.
It's true. That's why you hear things you don't want to hear.
That's right. Well, what advice do you have for new up-and-coming writers?
If I had any advice, it would be to live. Live. Be very spur of the moment. If someone asks you to go somewhere, you've got the time to do it, because you never know when an adventure might turn into a story, or when a heartbreak may turn into a good story or a good poem, a good song. And listen. Listen to the people around you. Watch the people around you, especially your family members and the elders in your family. You can learn a lot. I learned a lot from my Uncle Roger about the LGBTQ community back in the day and about the hardships that he went through and still goes through as a man of that community.
Mm-hmm.
And if people would just listen more, they would understand more. And you write what you know. So you've listened, you got it, now you know it, write it.
Well, I mean, when I told you after I got out of the hospital and stuff about me being in just whiteness, I don't remember much, just flashes of things. But, feeling Dad, smelling Dad, I guess apparently I was talking to him or asking for him from the way you all were telling me. And being in just this whiteness. And the lady I seen, I mean, is that something that you would, how did it make you feel about the whole situation, Is this going to be something you're going to write about and, put your perspective and the rest of your kids' perspective into a story? Or, because I know it seemed like it was very traumatic for everyone, but you seemed to was willing to accept it.
Yeah, I was willing to accept it because, I'll always do the first part first. It would be a beautiful poem. I can maybe see it as some prose, kind of some rhythmic prose or something, but death is not very linear, especially when you have all the personalities and people in it that we had in that particular moment. So I think it would be a better kind of Faulkner story, like if you're going to do it like that, just all these weird perspectives out of nowhere and your mom's a fish and you're confused. But it would make sense. And I accepted it because I knew that you've been fighting for so long. And that's another core value that you gave us, and that's another core value I have in my work is to fight. Fight, fight, fight. Fight the system, fight poverty, fight death, fight your mom. No. So I accept things way easier than a lot of people, and my siblings too, because I've known you've been sick for a long time. I know that you've loved your dad for a long time, in that in the astral plane you were at, if you were able to go back to your dad, I would have done the same thing in your shoes. I would have done the same thing. If I was dying and I saw you, I would have picked you.
Yeah, that's like I told you once I came out of everything, and I talked about this. I said if I'd found him, I probably wouldn't have came back or wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, and that was very hard for my siblings to accept, but I think after a little bit of time, after the rawness of the emotion went away, they accepted it too. They'd be like, want to know what? If I was in that situation, the circumstance, I probably would have done it too. Are you crying yet, listeners? Are you crying yet?
But you know what I thought was, even though I don't, like I said, just flashes, what I found beautiful in that moment that I don't, can comprehend is the fact that all four of you kids were there.
Yeah. I mean, even though we have our quarrels and we're all very different, we're all very similar. We all love our pop-pop. We all love each other. And nothing's going to separate us. No matter how many times my brother gets chlamydia, it's not going to separate us.
Oh, God. You didn't have to bring that up.
I didn't say which brother.
No, you didn't say which one, but hell, there's only two of them, and everybody's going to be looking at them going, I wonder which one of them has got that sexual transmitted disease.
Chlamydia is easy to get rid of. I mean, there's a version of super chlamydia, but one brother didn't get super chlamydia twice. They don't know. They can have T-shirts. Team Aaron, Team Zach. Which one got the chlamydia? I'm trying to boost your ratings.
Well, I appreciate it.
For the 10 people listening, figure out which brother has chlamydia. Call in.
Well, that's something they didn't get from their daddy, because I tell you what, your daddy been clean.
Even though he didn't believe in condoms and had 4 kids.
Okay, here's a question I like to ask everybody.
Put out that fire.
Yes, put some water on that motherfucker before it gets too hot. Have you had any experiences, anything paranormal or UFO encounters or anything crypto?
I've had many experiences with the paranormal. I've seen unidentified flying objects before, mostly in West Virginia, by the way, which I think is very interesting. I don't know if there's any theories on that. That'd be really cool to look up. But my earliest memory of paranormal activity comes from Mama's house. And it's actually an ongoing paranormal activity thing, which is a little scary. I don't know if I've told you this before. I feel like I have. But when I was really little, Deli and I used to sleep in Mama's bed together. And I was sleeping facing the door frame into the hallway. And I looked over because I felt like something was staring at me. And there was this large, black, scribbly figure. Like on TV when you get the scribble screen, the screen?
Yeah. That's
what he looked like. So I just rolled over. I was like, nope. Went back to sleep.
Nope, not dealing with this.
And then he showed up again at Aunt Betty's place that we used to stay at. And again, I was like, nope. I just turned around and went back to sleep. And then in college, I was about to go to sleep. And I saw, black feet. And I went back to sleep. But I woke up because I felt something in my bed. And I looked, and a man looked me straight in the face and went, I screamed, and, people were knocking on my doors and stuff because they thought I was being murdered.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And after that whatever said hey to me and I screamed in his face, I've never seen it again.
Good. Apparently it scared the hell out of it.
Yeah, because I screamed straight in his face. You don't wake me up from a nap and go, hey. Just like that. Just like that. It was like, isn't that the creepiest hey you've ever heard in your life? Hey.
Yeah, no,
it's like back of the throat hey, like a German saying hey. No. Right in my face. He was so ugly, too. He looked like a homeless, not saying homeless people are ugly, but he looked like your stereotypical homeless, dirty, scary man. Calling into your door bed, which is like the size of your leg, saying hey. Mhm.
Well, any kind of experience wouldn't make anybody piss on themselves.
That experience would probably make somebody pee on themselves as a creepy man crawled into their bed and said hey.
Yeah.
Mhm. But I don't have anything that would make anyone pee on themselves. I have stuff that mostly makes people go, Like when we all saw that pterodactyl that one time at Mama's house. All four of us did. I don't know if it was like a rip in space-time or what, but that was cool when we saw a alleged pterodactyl in the sky right after school.
Well, can you describe what it? I mean, you say it's like a pterodactyl, but can you?
Well, it was very, very large. Its wingspan covered most of the trees. It was like a pinky brown, dark, but not that dark color. It was just flying along. It was the most simple sighting in the world. It wasn't a very eventful sighting. It was mostly like, that has to be a pterodactyl. That is it had no feathers. It had like that long beak head going on. It was really cool. I don't know.
Damn. Too bad you didn't have cell phones back then where you got a picture of it.
I know that was in 1999. 1999.
Well, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about politics. I know you're passionate about politics as much as I am. So, what's your thoughts on Trump? How's he doing as president?
I think he is the best president that we've ever had. He is very underestimated, and everything I just said is a total lie. He is the worst person in the world, and I used to love him so much on The Celebrity Apprentice and on The Apprentice. He is a cool personality. I will give him that personality. He is someone that I would roll up a magazine for and spank him with it. Perfect person. But president, no. No.
Well, that kind of goes into my next question. What are your thoughts on Stormy Daniels?
I love Stormy Daniels. I love everything about Stormy Daniels. I like how her boobs are bigger than most of her body. And I know that's the porn industry, and I know you got to support all women, raise all women up, but she went extreme with them boobies. And I like how much chutzpah she has. But at the same time, wasn't she with Trump at that one party the same time that Trump was also with McDougal?
Yes.
And that's another thing that comes up really interesting. We got like three ladies here. We have his wife, and McDougal says that there was no time that he could have seen Stormy, which is interesting. But at the same time, at the end of the day, he still had a mistress.
I think he had two of them at the time.
I think he had two. I believe Stormy Daniels. And I believe McDougal too, and I feel bad for her because she was totally in love with him.
Oh yeah, you can tell, and I feel bad for her too. But I feel I mean, how do you think Melania is dealing with this? How do you think
I
she's
mean,
taking on the news?
she's a Russian spy, so she doesn't have to have any feelings. She's just here to play, give away some American secrets, and move on with her life. Maybe she has an affair with Putin. We don't know. We are only to assume. And anyways, she would be getting the better end of the stick by having an affair with Putin. Have you seen him shirtless on a horse? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Any woman have an affair with him.
Well, I mean, that's something that I can't understand how a lot of people I've talked to about the Stormy and McDougal and all the other women that came out and said that he sexually had misconduct with them. They're all like, well, they probably asked for it because they just want to be with somebody that's got billions of dollars. And I'm like, well, yeah, you ain't going to get no hot-ass women like those unless you got some fucking money. And I know it's terrible to say. And he's like, 30 years older than Melania. I mean, come on. What does he have?
You don't know what he's packing, Daddy. You don't know. These could all be size queens. We don't know.
He's got small hands. We know.
That means huge diggity dong. The president has a huge diggity dong. I want everyone to picture Gary Busey running a ride naked again with President Trump and his diggity dong. That's what I want.
Shit. Well, what are your thoughts
radio.
on...
You got to paint a picture.
Oh, you're painting it. Well, what's your thoughts on building a wall between the U.S. and Mexico?
I think we should build it between the U.S. and Canada. We cannot trust them. But I think it's very offensive. It's so offensive. We are the land of opportunity. We're bringing your huddled masses. Unless they have an eye infection, we don't want that. Which is true. They would send people back if they had eye infections. But it's just sad. I have never, but I'm happy it's happening. I'm happy it's happening. I'm happy that people can see people's true colors. I'm happy that the world is seeing America's true colors. And our true colors are not red, white, and blue. They're kind of dirty, stained, and racist. And you can't clean anything if you don't see it. So I'm happy we see the stains, and we got our Tide Pods, and hopefully the ones that we haven't eaten we can use to clean.
That's true.
And clean up this country.
Well, I mean, how do you think that the rest of the world is seeing the United States? I know you're saying they're seeing us dirty, but, I mean, do you think that they're seeing us also as being, ignorant now because, we elected someone like him even though he didn't win the popular vote? He won the Electoral College.
I think they are seeing us as ignorant, but there's also, I don't think they're seeing all of America as ignorant. I guess they're just seeing a big batch of them as ignorant, as I do too. I do too. And we live in an area where they're so prideful of their ignorance, and it's so confusing. Why are you happy that you're in West Virginia raising a rebel flag? That's not right. That's confusing.
That's something I tell a lot of people around here. You cannot fly the rebel flag and the American flag at the same time. That's the oxymoron.
That's just confusing.
Because you're either for the Union or you're for the Confederate. You can't be for both.
You can't be both. You can't be both. And I like seeing the differences in just our state, just in Virginia. You're in Southwest Virginia, you see no Obama stickers, and if you do, you're probably going to get a hubcap stolen like what happened to poor mama.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you go 2 hours down the road, you see Bernie Sanders stuff, feminists are welcome signs. It's just so cool how our country can be the same state. but so many different hooligans.
Oh, I know. And how does it make you feel to live in an area where you're the minority, being a Democrat, surrounded by all these Republicans that if you say anything negative or you call Trump out or any of his administration on, or Republicans on the stupid shit they're doing, and how they lambast you?
As a liberal woman, I feel the effects of it all the time. All the time. It's hard to keep a job because of my politics. My politics, honestly, and some corruption got me fired from my last job because I believe in the rights of children, but the patriarchy is alive and well in Southwest Virginia, and things that they brought up when they were firing me were my politics. They brought that up. And I get all the time, they're like, why do you believe the things that you do? I believe the things that I do because I love people. At the end of the day, I love each and every person that I come in contact with. Yes, there's a few people, if I hit them with my car, whoops, but I still love them.
And I did that completely out of love.
Yeah, completely out of love. I loved hitting them with my car. But it's hard in this area where there is about 40,000 people, 3,000 of them are Democrats, registered Democrats. Well, you can't really register in Virginia, but known Democrats, out Democrats.
That's true.
There's less Democrats than African American people in the town of Tazewell.
Yeah.
Well, in the county of Tazewell.
Well,
That
I know.
tells you.
Well, go ahead.
That's just a little statistic to throw out there, you know.
I know. It's quite white.
It is quite white.
But I mean, it goes into my next, thought is, everyone's talking about these jobs and the economy is booming, all over the nation. But here in Southwest Virginia, there's no good paying jobs. So what's your opinion on so many of our areas that support Trump, but yet they don't see any job growth for our area?
This is going to go into a little philosophical point. The people here are majority white Christians, and I would even say evangelical in their beliefs. They may not call themselves evangelicals, but they would hit every tick mark of an evangelical. And Trump is a god. Trump is a god. He gives you the presence of worship me, and I will give you what you want. Vote for me, and I will give you what you want. Listen to me and only me, or you're going to feel my wrath. He is very godlike in a lot of ways, and he fits Christian ideals, and I'm putting them in parentheses. So, of course, they were just like, I've got to get down on this. I've got to have it. Because it's everything I know, which is tell me what to do and I'll do it if you say it loud enough and dumb enough for me to understand. We're not dumb.
No, we're not dumb. And, and the Republicans, there's a lot of intelligent Republicans I know. And
very intelligent Republicans.
Yeah, and friends with them. And, there's some of them that didn't even vote for Trump. And they like some of his policies, but the biggest complaint I hear out of all of them is that they wish he'd shut his fucking mouth and quit tweeting.
And that's when you know they're a good Republican and a good person in general. If anyone who's like, Trump probably needs to stop tweeting is a good person. But if you're a horrible person like me who likes watching the world burn, I'm like, tweet it, do it. I love following Donald Trump on Twitter. He is insane. You guys voted for that. What? Thank you.
Yeah, that's what gets me.
Even though I'm going to be in a soup line probably, thank you.
Well, that's what I said when he won. I said, we all have to suffer. America will actually see what they did wrong.
And that's just how American history goes. Anyone's history. You take 10 steps forward, 5 steps back. Donald Trump is our 5 steps back. But with those 5 steps back, we get to realize other things that we need to work on as a nation, which is, again, our racism. One thing that also helped me get fired from my job was my support of Black Lives Matter. And I would fight these tassel white baby boy little dick cops all the time because they were doing all this Blue Lives Matter stuff. Yes, your life matters. But at the same time, your life is for the public. You signed on for this. You signed on to help the community, not to be glorified and stood up like a god again. For people in our area just have weird god complexes, and they really need to chill it down.
Well, I know you mentioned the Christians earlier. So why do you think that the Christians still support Trump? With polls showing that he's in the high 60% range, knowing that they've proven that he lies all the fucking time, flip flops on shit, he's cheated on his wife, and if it was any other politician, they would have already been kicked out of office. So why do you think that Trump gets a pass by the Christians?
Well, they use a couple things when they talk about it. They use, well, he's not a politician. Technically, he is now. Technically, he is now a politician. He's the president. He is technically in politics now, the highest of it. And I go back to a statement. I'll go back to a statement that I hear a lot of people say. They said during his campaign, he says what I want to say. He says what I want to say. So you telling me you think all Mexicans are rapists? You're telling me that you don't know what a period is and that we shouldn't really trust women because they bleed out of their you-know-what. Basically, they told me they're ignorant and that they're desperate.
Well,
they're looking for someone to stand up for them, for their unrighteous, which they think is righteous, agenda to keep their white privilege afloat. But the times they are changing.
See, that's the big issue. The older white Americans feel like that they're losing the grasp of whiteness, constantly being in control of America. When you've got Mexicans and Asians and all these other different ethnicities that's coming to America, or that's actually growing in populations that are legitimate Americans, it's terrifying them, and they don't want to lose that control.
And as a white person who, of course, has white privilege in a lot of ways, we should be celebrating that people will get equal chances, equal opportunities. We're a country that's different than so many countries. How many other countries other than like Canada and Britain have so many different nationalities and people from different countries inside of it?
Oh, that's true.
None.
And
we should be celebrating that instead of trying to suppress it and shove like white agenda down people's throats.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And I know everybody is going to say, well, that's your daughter. She's going to agree with you. And I'm like, you know what? My daughters do agree with me, but my sons don't. And
no, and we disagree on a lot of stuff too.
You know,
Right.
I taught them all the same, and to look at the world through, take a step back and get a bigger picture. Don't look at the world through narrow lens, and to accept everybody off of their actions and not by their color of their skin or sex or anything like that.
And even though you taught us that, one thing I can say good about Tazewell County, but I can say, I guess it's the teachers more than just Tazewell County. Teachers glorified Martin Luther King Jr. in our classrooms, and they would play his tapes and play his videos of his I Have a Dream speech. And that really resonated with a lot of people in my class and a lot of people I know from Tazewell. Even though at home we got a lot of the accept, we also got that at school too. Accept each other, love each other, which is really cool. And I think I'm very lucky that I had that kind of teaching in a public school. Because it's honestly pretty rare nowadays. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Well, what's your opinion about all these school shootings and, you know, the controversy with gun control?
I am very proud of these students. As a teacher who's taught pre-K all the way to college, I'm proud of these kids who've been standing up, saying, I'm tired of watching my friends die. And a former teacher in live classrooms with live children, it's always in the back of your mind, especially where I visited over 30 schools. You're like, when is it going to hit? Statistically, is it going to hit when I walk in and there's a school shooting? Or statistically, with your own kid, when is it going to hit? When is my kid going to walk into a classroom and never come back? I think it's in a lot of parents' minds. It's in my mind. I mean, my niece is in school, in public school right now. My nephew is about to go into public school. I know he's in Head Start, and I wouldn't put it past the shooter to go into a Head Start. But I think something has to be done. I love guns. I do. There has to be a way. And I honestly think it's taking out the automatics, those guns.
Well,
the guns that are used in rap songs.
Well, they are 15s. They are semi-automatic. But where I got a problem is the fact that they got 30-round clips. I mean, you take a 10-round clip of a Glock 9 or 6 rounds from a 6-shooter or something like that. I mean, they got to reload that quick. And within that time, you know, people could actually save some lives. And I know that sounds terrible to be even talk about it because we didn't even think about this shit when I was in school. But
I know you had nuclear bombs to worry about.
Yeah, we was worried about Russia going to fucking nuke us. Now we're just afraid the president suck his dick. But what do you think about teachers having guns in classrooms?
I definitely think teachers should not have guns. No. There would be even more school shootings. Or they would end up shooting themselves in front of students. How traumatic would that be? You just walk into the class and your teacher's just got a divorce and then shoots himself in front of all of you.
Well, that's true.
Knowing teachers in Tazewell, a few of them, if they were able to bring guns to school, which honestly they probably do have guns in their classrooms right now, there's no protection at Tazewell, even against asbestos. They would shoot themselves in front of you.
Even against asbestos.
It's true.
Well, the thing is, when it comes up to the guns and the control part, this has been my argument for a long time, and I know you've heard me ever since Columbine, and it freaked us the fuck out.
Yeah.
I always believe, you know, it should be regulated. I think that if you drive a car, you got to have a driver's license. That's anywhere from a 3,000 to an 80,000 plus fucking weapon. Now, a gun is a weapon, no matter what type of gun it is, and you should be regulated just like getting a driver's license. You should, and this goes for everybody that owns a gun or wants to own a gun. You should have to go through a testing. You'd have to go through hands-on training to know about the gun, to know about guns and gun safety. Regulated every 3 or 5 years. You have to go back and be retested and actually carry a card, like a driver's license or something that says, hey, I've been through all this training in gun safety, and also psychological evaluation of people. I mean, it needs to be regulated. If it saves one child's life, to me, it's well worth it.
I know. And that's what the cops say about DARE. They're like, if DARE saves one life, all this money's worth it. But if we regulate guns, oh, it's not worth it. Not worth it.
I know a lot of people I've argued with on Facebook and stuff. You know, they say this is their biggest argument. Well, my gun don't kill nobody. You know, the gun is just a tool. It's the person who does the killing. Yeah, but
if someone comes up to me with a knife, I will be able to beat the crap out of them for a little bit while they are trying to stab me. And honestly, as a Southern Appalachia woman, I probably have a knife on me, so now it's just a knife fight. Their argument is invalid. They can maybe kill 2 people with the knife because you're going to have someone beating the crap out of you. You're going to get tired. Stabbing people is hard.
Yeah, it's more work than pulling the trigger.
It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's easier to pull the trigger. It's just sad that, and then they bring up, this is what hurts my feelings, is they victim blame these poor students. Blaming these students, saying, if you would have talked to that guy, he wouldn't have shot you up. And then there's kids who did talk to that guy. It's like, I talked to that bro. He shot me anyway.
Have you seen the conspiracy people out here? They're attacking these kids. They're standing up for what they believe in. And also, I've seen a video of this man and woman that went to that church down in Texas.
Who in the world wants someone to come up to me and be like, show me your kid's dead body?
Yeah.
That'd be another killing.
And see, that's what gets me with, Roseanne Barr. I know her show came back on a couple of weeks ago, and she's a big Trump supporter. But damn, that bitch is all into this crazy alien. I mean, and I'm not saying this to offend anyone about aliens. I believe that there's aliens and stuff like that. But talk about alien people that's running the country. She's all into Breitbart News and all these conspiracy theories. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's just a matter of time before she fucks up.
Yep. Republican.
Well, it's one thing. Back in the 90s when her show was on, it was more of a liberal show. And now she went far, far off to right to damn near far off the fucking earth.
Well, she shot Tom Arnold. I think everyone should remember that. Of course she's for gun control. She shot Tom Arnold over donuts.
Well, she's not for gun control. She's just let us have her guns.
I think Roseanne should be the regulator of guns.
Oh, shit.
Let Roseanne say who and who cannot. It would be a very interesting universe.
Well, what do you think about this Robert Mueller, the special prosecutor that's...
I really like Robert Mueller, mostly because he looks like David Duchovny's dad in the X-Files. Like, if David Duchovny had an X-Files dad, it would be Robert Mueller, hands down. Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
I thought you were
Robert Mueller, David Duchovny, together forever, holy matrimony, gay marriage. Let's go. While it's still legal, hurry.
What do you think the Russians helped Trump get elected?
The Russians totally helped him get elected. I don't understand why this is still a conversation. To me, this is old news. This is old news. The Russians totally trolled the plebes. The plebes believed it because they don't know how to look up sources, because they only have high school educations, or they're educated white women who don't have no time to look up sources, which makes me very mad. But anyway, they did it. They helped, and I don't know if Russia's just one big troll or if we are just turning into the Axis powers. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
What do you think about Trump's dictatorial actions where he's going to have a military parade, something that has never, as far as I know, has never been done in America?
Everyone loves a good parade, but I think Trump is very impressionistic, and I've heard people on the news and other people who peer into politics talk about where he is very impressionistic, where if one person walks in the room, he's all into what they're saying, totally agreeing with them. Another person comes in with a different viewpoint, he's totally in, he's all about what that person's saying. He reminds me of poor Brother Zach. If Brother Zach ever became president, he would totally be Donald Trump, but he'd be way nicer.
That's the damn
Just
truth.
going with the flow, being cool with everybody, going, hey, abortion sounds pretty bad because you said it was. You gave me some cool stats. So someone goes in, no, sometimes you got to have an abortion because incest is a thing. Oh, okay. Abortion's cool.
Yeah, he kind of does bear off all over the place, depending on who.
And that's what gets other politicians in trouble, the flip-flopping. No one liked Mitt Romney because of flip-flop.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets away with it. I do understand why he gets away with everything, because he's not a president, he's a personality. We voted in a personality.
Yeah, they voted in a reality TV star.
And boy, howdy, are we getting a really crazy episodes every single day.
It's every day, man.
Every single day.
You can't turn the TV on, the news, nothing. Unless Donald Trump has tweeted something, done something, said something that is just fucking everything up. I mean,
something.
I mean, fucking something.
Yeah.
He's fucking with Amazon. He's fucked with the stock market. He's fucking with tariffs. Now, all these people that voted for him, especially these farmers out in the Midwest, when they go bankrupt because they can't sell their soybeans to nobody because China's number one import of it, what the fuck they gonna do? They gonna vote him in for 2020? Is it gonna be Trump 2020 then? And these people around here, they can't get a damn TV for $150 when it costs $500. Are they gonna go Trump 2020 then?
What makes me feel so bad, and I know we talk about Appalachia a lot, and we've talked about Appalachia a lot in this episode, but Appalachia always feels the heat of bad presidents.
Yes, we do.
Appalachia always feels the heat. We are a farming community. We are not a very bright community, but we're bright in a lot of different ways, and we get crapped on by bad presidents.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because they always vote for these bad presidents who just make their lives worse, but they would follow them to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, and that's
because of what they say, not what they do.
And that's what's going to happen, especially if we end up with a war with Iran. All the wars that America's fought, the majority of the men that have died for his country, it came from the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, moving piece.
Yeah, we're
Our
going to go.
Our culture is used against us for our vote, when our vote is a little bit more precious than you would think. I mean, our vote got Trump into office. Just imagine what our vote could do if we used it for good.
Yeah.
And those white hillbillies came up with the kids and the Mountain Dew and half a shoe. Just imagine what those people, because those people are a different kind of intelligence. The people in Appalachia are a different kind of intelligence. They're not book smart.
Well, I had a friend of mine.
Smart.
I had a friend of mine that I went to school with and graduated with, and his big thing is that, especially where Virginia went for Hillary, he said that they need to be an electoral college for each state because he said their voices in Southwest Virginia ain't being heard. I'm like, bullshit. From other side of Roanoke all the way down to Tennessee, it was heard. It was red as shit on the tips, like a tip of a damn Chihuahua's dick. Just because
now,
there's more people.
I agree with him, but not for presidential elections. I believe that Appalachia people, and at least in the state of Virginia, are not heard. The state of Virginia ends at Roanoke, and our people, our voices aren't heard. We didn't get the fiber optic internet that Roanoke got with Mark Warner and the rest of Virginia got with Mark Warner. We don't have up-to-date hospitals. We don't have up-to-date roads. We don't have up-to-date schools. When you can go to anywhere else down the road in Virginia and see wonderful schools, wonderful roads, equipped teachers, equipped police forces. We do not have that here because we don't get the money from our state government because our voices just aren't heard. We're just seen as all those cold people can do what they do. They don't even know that what they don't got. We do know what we don't got.
Well, see, now I blame that on our congressman and our damn delegate because of the fact that when Rick Boucher was our congressman, man, he got shit done. He got shit in Southwest Virginia.
Mhm.
And they were dumbasses for voting him out and getting Gillespie in there. Gillespie, the only thing he knows to do is write a fucking editorial every week.
True. I'm just happy he does know how to write.
and be the son of a bitches from Salem. It ain't like he's a Southwest Virginian. He don't know jack shit about our area.
And the thing is, if you bring it up to anybody, they fight you. And that goes back to the original point of Southern people and kind of ignorant, what is considered ignorant people, not book smart people, love false gods. They love them. They just love people who preach their truth, and they will vote for them all the way. And you could say that about Democrats, too. We love people who just preach our truth and will vote for them all the way. The difference is, if you don't preach our truth just a little bit, we're like, I'm not voting for them. I vote for Gary Johnson. It's Gary Johnson time.
Mhm.
But Republicans are like, I didn't really agree with the preacher this Sunday, but I'm gonna still come out the next Sunday and vote for him every single time.
Well, that's just like our delegate, Will Moorefield. Now he passed by when we was walking through Magic Mart, looked up at me and just kept his head down and kept going.
I call him short.
He is short. But I'll try to get him on my show. He won't come on. He tells me if I want to talk to him, I have to come to his office and talk to him. And they keep voting this fucker in, and he ain't done shit for Southwest Virginia. I mean, really, what has he done? What has he done?
He shopped at Magic Mart. He helped the local economy.
He does it? Well, okay. Yeah, you had to hit me with that. But, Tazewell County spent millions of dollars on a damn infrastructure up here for a industrial park, that's been sitting there for 6-7 years now, empty.
And they make fun of us so hard for that in the rest of Virginia.
I don't blame them.
Anyone who knows anything about like politics and the rest of Virginia, we get made fun of for that industrial park. That's just empty because we want new innovative stuff. But if Google or Apple comes by, and they're like, no, I don't want you in here. You're not innovative enough for me.
No, they wanted mining. They thought the mining industry was going to boom back, and that's the reason why they built it. And they only want mining type businesses in there. And then they had the dental school up here at Bluefield that was going to go into it. But the president of the dental association talked about how it's such a bad idea, and then Bluefield State pulled out, or not Bluefield State, but Bluefield College.
Thank goodness they pulled out.
I mean, damn.
I really wanted to make I wish Will Moorfield's dad pulled out joke, but I didn't. I want everyone to know that I didn't do it.
Well, good.
I'm a classy lady.
Well, I know you, Lee. I appreciate you, coming on the show. And sorry about the little fuck up there for a little bit, but we got it straightened out quick. But I know you get up early, and I want to thank you for coming on the show. And you make me proud. You make me proud every day. You and all the other kids, the rest of the kids. People, I'm honored that this is my daughter and how she's grown to be such a intelligent and outspoken young lady. She's gonna go far.
Yeah. So far, she hasn't gotten a crack rock.
So far. So, what's your plans for the rest for the year? Do you have any projects or anything you're writing or working on that you can discuss real quick?
Well, I'm still working on my novel very slowly, and I'm hoping and thinking about publishing another book of poems. And you can also buy the book I already wrote on Amazon, $7, on Pain Through Love. And I'll probably just be chilling with the cats the rest of the time.
Okay. My daughter's turning into a cat lady at 25 years old.
It's true.
Oh, my God.
It's true. But I keep my mustache bleached, unlike most cat ladies.
Wow. Well, if anyone has any questions, thoughts, comments, or anything like that, would you like for them to get a contact with you? And if so, how can they do that?
Well, they can, of course, go on Facebook, Dakota Shortridge, add me, or you could just message me. You'll go into the creeper folder, upset of where people that aren't your friends but message you anyway folder, and I'll try to look. And, of course, there's my email, lildakotalee@gmail.com, if you have any questions or need to know where my book is at, but it's on Amazon for $7 on Pain Through Love. Dakota Shortridge.
Yeah. Give the name out again and where you can get it.
Well, the book is On Pain Through Love by Dakota Shortridge, and you can get it on Amazon.com. Again, it is $7. Not a big investment.
I just want to make sure you got that in there because I don't think you did.
And I don't think I did either. I think the listeners need to know.
Well, honey, I appreciate you coming on the show, like I said, and I'll have you back on again sometime, and we'll talk more. So you have a good night, and I love you.
Love you too, Denny.
Night, honey.
Night.
Night. Bye-bye. Well, that's it from us tonight. I want to thank my daughter, Dakota Shortridge, for taking the time to come on the show. Love her to death, respect her, and so proud of her and what she's been doing and how she's been working her ass off. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Vibe Radio Network and Ryan for putting up with us. And also a big shout out to everyone that took the time to listen in. Also to all the first responders and our men and women in the armed services, thank you all for your service and the sacrifices you all make every day to keep us safe. Our guest for next Thursday night, April 12th, will be Linda Zimmerman. Linda is a research scientist turned award-winning author of over 30 books on science, history, and paranormal and fiction. She has lectured across the country and has appeared on numerous TV and radio shows. Everyone can go to our Facebook page, Within the Chaos, and don't forget to like our page if you don't mind. To see upcoming guests along with past shows, postings, you can go to my website at blackdiamondps.org or blogtalkradio.com/Within the Chaos. We also have a YouTube site up and running with all past shows. So everyone go check that out. And if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button. And you can enjoy our amazing past guests. Thanks again. Until next week, everyone have a safe weekend. And everyone have a good night. Love you all. And let's see. I'll play something cool for y'all. Let's see what we're going to play. I like this way. Yeah, we'll go with Wild West.